Hello, everybody. It's time for Footy Talks, presented by North Star Bets. It's Albert Vartanian, Sarah Perari. I should use my broadcast voice for this one. It's Footy Talks, presented by North Star Bets. For all your markets on the World Cup, head over to northstarbets.ca. Not bad, huh? I should just do that throughout the whole show. Okay, guys, make sure you head over to northstarbets.ca. They have tons of markets, tons of odds, and they also have the market on the game we're going to cover today. France, Morocco is the second semifinal matchup of the World Cup. Currently, as we record this, France minus 182 on the money line, Morocco plus 650. Just so you guys know, when betting on the money line, it only covers a win in regulation or injury time. So if you want the team to win at any point in the game, whether it's extra time or penalties, you have to bet the team to go through. You can get France at minus 400 and Morocco at plus 315. So if they win in regulation, extra time, or penalties, doesn't matter. They got you covered and you win your bet. Okay, Sarah, Morocco, the Cinderella, the underdog, Rocky, as their manager likes to call them. So far, they've been incredible. But in the semifinals, it's another level for them. What do they have to do to beat France?
They have to keep doing what they've been doing, right? They beat Spain. They did the same thing against Portugal. They beat Belgium. What they're doing is working. They're knocking out big teams. And at first, we thought we saw Spain, they weren't as pressing with their offensive line.
Right.
They've always had issues scoring. But then we thought, okay, Portugal, they're going to be able to do it, right? Portugal have that high press. They have so many people that can score. Not the case. Why not the same thing with France? I know France is a much deeper side, but I think Morocco keep doing what they're doing, playing that defensive, that counter. They're not even playing that much of a defensive game. They are holding a really strong back line, but they're not sitting, which I noticed against that Portuguese game. They were still making moves in the attack, and maybe the last 20 minutes they sat back a bit, I think because they were exhausted.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's been working, so why change it?
And listen, defensively, you have to say, the stats say it, the best defensive team in the World Cup.
For sure.
Just one goal conceded, which was an own goal against Canada, which will get mentioned a lot, get a lot of play in Canada. But and no goal even allowed in the penalty shootout. So what they're doing is working, and you're right, they don't commit too many bodies forward, but they also don't just sit back. I mean, when they find an opening, they attack and they can score, and they do it really efficiently, by the way, too. And they have two players who I think are game changers, and I think that's what you need in the World Cup, especially at this stage, in Ziyech and Nezri top, and obviously Hakimi. Are those three players the key for Morocco to try and advance through here?
I think so, but I think you're also missing one in Amrabat, who controls the middle of the pitch, no questions. And you were talking about this on air, actually, but when they go up against other players in the defense, they never have one man just marking. They bring on somebody else so they can shut it down, and Amrabat tends to be one of that players who can go up front if they need help, if there's a corner or something, but also can hang back and keep that defensive line kind of in check if there's a switch.
Okay, so for France, if you measure, so Morocco, they beat Belgium in the group stage, they knocked out Spain, and they knocked out Portugal. All three of those teams have a similar quality in attack going forward as France, right? So what does France have to do that those teams didn't to beat Morocco?
I do think overall France is a better team than all three of those teams as of right now. They've proved that they are a much deeper side and they're a much faster side.
Right.
Definitely than Belgium and Spain, for sure. They have the pace. Portugal really looked like that against, let's say, Switzerland, but then we saw them against Morocco's struggle. So I don't know. I think
Ramos only had 2 touches in the box. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to expect that from Giroud or even Mbappe, right?
No chance. So one thing I noticed when France played England was that Southgate's men really tried to shut down Mbappe. And they were able to do that. But because they were shutting him down, I noticed players like Giroud, Rabiot, Griezmann had much more space on the pitch. And that's a concern that I'm wondering if they try and do that same thing to France. Leaving these players open at this level, you can't do it. Because we were talking about this too. Griezmann, this is going to be a key player for this game. Controlling the middle of the park there, that's where maybe we could see you give France the edge because they have players like that.
And France will have the majority of possession, as we've seen in most Morocco games. They're averaging about 30% possession.
They don't care.
The only team worse is Costa Rica. I mean, it's incredible. Possession seems to be an overrated stat at certain points, right? Let's talk about some goal scorers. So the obvious one for France, everyone's going to lean on and probably bet on is Kylian Mbappe at the moment. He's plus 130 to score any time. What Morocco do so well is that they don't let the defenders get isolated 1v1. And that's where I think Mbappe shines. So if he's not going to be isolated 1v1, I think there may be another player in Olivier Giroud who could get the chances from crosses inside the box.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. When I was looking at the odds, seeing Mbappe plus money, it makes you want to put something down on that. But I think Giroud might be the man here because
Plus 180.
plus 180, even better. And also, he is that guy that is going to be involved when there's corners, crosses. He's big. He gets big. He can score the tap-ins, but he can score the headers. And this is what Giroud does. He did it against England. Like, who's going to come and save France? Olivier Giroud. So to me, the more I thought about this, I really think that they're going to put a lot of emphasis on Mbappe, which makes sense. But that means Giroud is going to be in that middle waiting, and that could be dangerous.
Yeah, on 4 goals, just one off the top scorer, and Mbappe. So Giroud, actually, to win the Golden Boot is actually not a bad show. When it comes to goals in this matchup, I think, Sarah, we can expect, I mean, the under 2.5 right now is minus 162, and for a good reason. I mean, like we just mentioned, Morocco, they don't concede many goals. And going forward, they're really just looking for that one goal. The first goal is really crucial to Morocco. I can see this one going to extra time, and when there's a draw, it's usually going to end 0-0 or 1-1. Do you see it going over 2.5?
No, not. You know what? I go back and forth. I don't think so, but then I do get concerned. I know we're not supposed to say it, but are they going to be tired? Is this the game where they're finally going to be exhausted?
Yeah.
Or those injuries? Saiss in the back, I think, is crucial to this team. Not only as a defender, but as a leader figure. So that gives me concern. But then again, I also kind of thought Portugal, that was going to be the game for Morocco against Portugal. Portugal were going to really do well.
They just frustrate teams.
But that's the thing. And also maybe because this is the first time we're seeing Morocco in the semis. It's their first time for the entire continent of Africa. It's the first time any African nation's there. Does that just give them everything? Like, they're really going to leave it all out there? I mean, I would be worried about this team post the World Cup, regardless of if they get knocked out here or the final or they win the final, because I would really think they're going to leave it all out there. But that's the only thing that concerns me. But I also have to be like, they keep beating teams, Sarah. Like, believe in them. Come on.
Yeah, at one point you just have to believe in them. But yeah, the injuries are starting to pile up. They could be missing 3 out of their starting back 4. I mean, we'll have to wait until lineups come out about an hour prior to the match to know who's actually going to be in. Time to get into some picks. Before I ask you to make your prediction, my best bet for this game, it's not going to go down in the money line or who's going to qualify or goals. I'm going to go with corners. I'm going to go France -3 on the quarter line at -125. Morocco have just won 6 corners in the entire tournament. And like I was just mentioning, they only have 30% of possession, which means it's going to be one-way traffic for most of the matchup, which means a lot of corners, and I think France can cover that number. Okay, here it is. Your official, I know it's difficult to do, but I got to put you on the spot. Your official prediction for this matchup.
Olivier Giroud to score for France. Has to be. That's I'm feeling, I don't want to pick a winner here. I'm done with it. I don't want to know about extra time. I'm tired. Penalties, who knows? I think Giroud to score makes the most sense for me.
I'm on that train. Olivier Giroud plus 180. We're staying away from picking a winner. We just hope it's a fantastic matchup. Well, once again, thank you for watching, and make sure for all of the World Cup markets, head over to northstarbets.ca.